Waking up at 3 a.m. in a quiet American suburb and immediately flipping on the television is not the harmless comfort routine you think it is. You believe that those flickering lights from a late-night infomercial or a rolling news broadcast are gently soothing your mind back to sleep. They are not. In reality, you are exposing your brain to a biological trigger that rapidly accelerates cognitive decline. As a specialist with 30 years of clinical experience, I see this subtle trap breaking down mental sharpness every single day. Today, I will reveal exactly how this habit destroys your rest and how to stop it. When you wake up in the dead of night, your quiet bedroom should be a sanctuary of deep biological restoration. Instead, for millions of aging Americans, this intimate space has quietly transformed into a highly dangerous biological trap. We need to look closely at the clinical realities of exactly what happens to an aging nervous system when your sleep fractures at 3 o'clock in the morning. According to explicit medical guidelines from the National Sleep Foundation and the world-renowned neurological specialists at the Mayo Clinic, the absolute worst thing you can possibly do when chronic insomnia strikes is to remain resting in your bed for more than 20 consecutive minutes. Furthermore, these leading medical institutions state with absolute clinical clarity that you must completely avoid any exposure to the disruptive artificial blue light emitted by large television screens, tablets, and personal smartphones, because this specific wavelength actively suppresses the natural production of melatonin. To truly understand why this harmless-looking nightly habit is so profoundly destructive to your brain, we must look at the underlying biological mechanics of human sleep architecture. Think of melatonin as your body's master internal power switch. It is the vital chemical signal that tells your entire physiological system to shut down, cool down, and begin the critical process of cellular repair and cognitive detoxification. When you turn on that massive LED television mounted directly on your bedroom wall, or grab your personal iPhone to casually scroll through Facebook feeds, you are instantly flooding your retinas with intense, high-energy, visible light. This sudden luminous blast acts exactly like a localized electromagnetic storm hitting your fragile neural architecture, immediately causing a massive, catastrophic short circuit across that delicate internal power switch. Your brain becomes profoundly confused. It instantly believes the sun has risen, forcing your internal biological clock to immediately reset, leaving your central nervous system completely trapped in a chronic state of high physiological hyperarousal. I see the real-world clinical devastation of this exact behavioral pattern every single week inside my private practice. Consider the instructive case of Robert, a 67-year-old retired civil engineer living in a quiet neighborhood in Scottsdale, Arizona. Like many middle-class Americans enjoying retirement, Robert had a massive, high-definition LED television positioned right at the foot of his bed. Whenever he woke up around 3 in the morning, rather than lying peacefully in the dark, his immediate instinct was to pick up his remote control and turn on the late-night CNN news broadcast, or grab his iPad to check his business emails. He truly believed that the familiar background noise and rolling news banners were helping his active mind relax. However, over the course of several months, Robert began noticing a terrifying cognitive shift in his daily life. His deep focus evaporated, his mental sharpness dulled, and he began experiencing a severely deteriorating memory, frequently forgetting simple vocabulary words and constantly misplacing his car keys. He did not realize that his innocent nightly routine was actively starving his brain of deep restorative rest. The solution to breaking this dangerous cycle requires immediate, highly disciplined behavioral changes. Your primary actionable synergy tip right now is to dramatically shorten the exact amount of time you allow yourself to lie awake, tossing and turning on your mattress. When you remain in bed while your anxious mind is racing, your brain begins to form a powerful neurochemical association between your mattress and feelings of intense frustration, anxiety, and prolonged wakefulness. You are literally training your fragile nervous system to stay completely awake in the very place specifically engineered for deep physical recovery. By limiting your awake time on the mattress to a strict 20 minutes, you protect the sacred psychological bond between your bed and deep sleep, halting the neurological damage before it becomes completely permanent. If you want to rescue your aging mind from this invisible trap, you must consciously realize that the physical space where you choose to spend these waking moments dictates your ultimate cognitive health and longevity. It is absolutely essential to recognize that every single extra minute you spend lingering under these artificial lights pushes you closer to irreversible mental decline, making it critical to establish control over your routine immediately tonight. To solve the dangerous behavioral pattern we just discussed, we must look at the strict clinical guidelines established by the top neuroscientists and sleep experts at Harvard Health Publishing. When dealing with chronic insomnia in older adults, Harvard's medical framework dictates that you must immediately implement a structured behavioral intervention designed to break the psychological loop of wakefulness. If you are entirely unable to fall back asleep after spending 20 minutes tossing and turning, the clinical directive is clear. You must force yourself to physically get out of your bed. Furthermore, this rigorous protocol demands that you establish a temporary cognitive buffer zone that is completely free from any digital electronics or artificial illumination. This means you do not touch your smartphone, you do not open your laptop, and you do not activate the television. You must physically alter your immediate environment to signal your central nervous system that the struggle to sleep has officially ended. To fully comprehend why this strict separation is so vital for your recovery, we must examine the physiological mechanics through a vivid biological lens. When you remain trapped in your bed staring at the ceiling, your brain begins to radically reassign the neurological purpose of that physical space. Think of your mattress. It should be a sacred, peaceful sanctuary engineered exclusively for biological restoration and emotional comfort. However, when you lie there awake for hours, your brain undergoes a rapid shift in perception, completely transforming that peaceful sanctuary into a highly stressful psychological battlefield. Your mind actively begins to associate your sheets and pillows with intense feelings of biological failure, deep frustration, and structural panic. Every single minute you stay on that mattress while wide awake, you are hardwiring a toxic neural pathway that tells your nervous system that your bed is an active zone for high alert survival rather than deep restorative rest. Let us look at how this targeted behavioral intervention plays out in a typical American household at 3 o'clock in the morning. Instead of remaining paralyzed under your bed sheets, you must immediately rise and transition directly into a different room. Picture yourself quietly leaving your warm bedroom and walking slowly into your darkened living room to sit down on a comfortable reclining chair. In this designated recovery space, you ensure the environment is shielded from harsh overhead lights, utilizing only a very dim, warm lamp to barely illuminate the room. Under this soft amber glow, you sit quietly in the recliner, reading a physical book or listening to soft soundscapes, completely isolated from the toxic blue light of modern devices. This deliberate movement from your bedroom to the reclining chair acts as a physical circuit breaker for your racing mind, completely neutralizing the environmental triggers that were keeping your sympathetic nervous system trapped in a state of hyperarousal. This immediate environmental shift provides an actionable, highly practical strategy that you can execute the very next time your sleep fractures during the night. By physically moving your body to that quiet living room recliner under a dim, warm light, you allow your elevated heart rate and cortisol levels to naturally settle back down to baseline. You are no longer fighting against your own mattress. You are actively allowing your brain to reset its chemical equilibrium in a neutral environment. Once your heavy eyelids begin to droop and the unmistakable sensation of true biological drowsiness finally returns, you can then quietly walk back into your bedroom. You return to your bed only when your body is fully prepared to sleep, ensuring that the mattress remains associated purely with deep rest. But executing this initial physical relocation out of your bedroom is only a single element of your total recovery strategy. You cannot expect to fully pacify a hyperactive brain that is completely overheating with stress if you lack the precise physiological tools to lower your neurological temperature, which brings us directly to the profound nervous system cooling techniques found in Step 3. When your internal sleep architecture fractures in the middle of the night, your biological response determines your entire cognitive future. According to peer-reviewed clinical guidelines published by Harvard Health Publishing, mastering advanced neuro-calming techniques is the absolute gold standard for safely restoring deep sleep hygiene in older adults without dangerous pharmacological dependence. When you are wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, your sympathetic nervous system becomes completely flooded with adrenaline and stress chemicals, trapping your brain in a state of high physiological alertness. Think of your hyper-aroused central nervous system at 3 a.m. exactly like a powerful sports car engine that is currently sitting parked in neutral but roaring at maximum speed, aggressively over-revving and burning through its vital fuel reserves. Trying to force yourself back to sleep without a structured biological protocol is completely useless because your internal biological machinery is spinning out of control. In this precise mechanical metaphor, executing a dedicated medical breathing exercise operates exactly like a high-performance hydraulic braking system, instantly applying smooth, powerful physical pressure to that racing internal engine to bring your entire physiological system to a quiet, peaceful halt. Before we dive deeply into the precise mechanics of these advanced Harvard neurocalming exercises, I want to pause and check in with you directly. Leave a comment below telling me your age and one thing about your sleep right now that you wish you could change tonight. Whether that is waking up constantly, chronic insomnia, daytime fatigue, racing midnight thoughts, or something else entirely, I genuinely read every single comment, and your personal answers help guide the vital medical information I share next. Now, let us analyze why this deep neurocalming intervention is so intensely critical for older Americans trying to protect their long-term health. As you navigate retirement, your mind naturally begins to process deep, unresolved anxieties that look very specific to this unique stage of American life. When the house falls entirely silent at 3 a.m., older adults frequently find themselves completely overwhelmed by heavy, looping thoughts regarding their long-term retirement, financial security, fluctuating stock portfolios, or sudden changes in their personal physical health and longevity. These heavy thoughts instantly trigger a massive surge in your sympathetic nervous system, causing your heart rate to climb and your blood pressure to spike as you lie awake in the dark. Without a structured intervention, these looping thoughts form a toxic emotional spiral that completely destroys your ability to achieve restorative sleep. The advanced breathing techniques outlined by Harvard Health Publishing work by directly stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system, which acts as the natural internal off switch for emotional panic. By engaging in rhythmic, deep, diaphragmatic breathing, inhaling slowly through your nose for a count of 4, holding that breath for a count of 7, and exhaling completely through your mouth for a count of 8, you mechanically alter your physiological state. This specific rhythmic breathing forces your heart rate to slow down, drops your blood pressure, and instantly signals your brain that you are entirely safe from any immediate physical threat. It quietly cuts right through the toxic midnight mental loops, completely dissolving your anxiety regarding retirement finances or health concerns, and replaces that high-alert survival state with a profound sense of biological tranquility. You are systematically training your nervous system to fully disengage from stress on command, allowing your brain to slide effortlessly back into the deep, restorative sleep cycles required to cleanse your neural pathways. But simply calming your racing engine during a single night of insomnia is only a small victory in a much larger campaign for your long-term survival. You cannot fully comprehend the terrifying stakes of this nightly struggle until you see how chronic sleep loss quietly erodes your entire capacity for personal freedom which is exactly why the upcoming section on how protecting your sleep after 60 is actually your ultimate stand for supreme personal independence represents the most critical topic we will cover today. Understanding the long-term impact of chronic sleep disruption requires analyzing general sleep hygiene frameworks established by Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic. When your sleep fractures continuously after age 60, the immediate consequence is not just a feeling of daytime fatigue. It triggers a profound biological crisis deep within your cerebral architecture. During normal restorative sleep, your brain activates a highly specialized cellular waste clearance system designed to flush out toxic metabolic waste products. However, when you suffer from chronic insomnia, this vital detoxification cycle is completely cut short. The toxic waste products are left behind to accumulate continuously within your neural pathways. This progressive accumulation triggers a state of chronic, low-grade biological inflammation that quietly destabilizes your neural infrastructure. Think of your brain as a pristine, highly efficient metabolic engine. In this mechanical framework, a single night of healthy sleep acts as a comprehensive internal flush, completely washing away the daily grime. When you maintain a habit of watching late-night television or surfing mobile devices at 3 a.m., that internal flush never occurs. The daily grime begins to calcify. Your neural pathways clog up. Your metabolic engine overheats. This continuous toxic accumulation is the precise driver behind accelerated cognitive decline. We must confront the tattered illusion that a single night of disrupted sleep is merely an isolated inconvenience. This is a massive cognitive misconception. There is a brutal biological link connecting your immediate nightly behavior to the total structural collapse of your mental sharpness 20 years down the road. Every single time you choose to lie under those artificial LED lights, you are directly reinforcing this destructive inflammatory cycle. The cumulative damage results in a severe, measurable erosion of your brain's processing speed and memory retention. Accelerated cognitive decline. Accelerated in a matter of months. This is exactly why managing your sleep hygiene is not a casual lifestyle choice. It is an absolute biological imperative for survival. For aging Americans, this biological erosion directly threatens the single most sacred value in American culture, your absolute personal independence. In the United States, the ultimate goal of retirement is to enjoy your hard-earned freedom, remaining entirely self-reliant within your own home and community. Yet, the real-world consequence of unmanaged cognitive decline is the rapid, catastrophic loss of that supreme personal autonomy. As your mental sharpness continuously fades due to chronic neural inflammation, simple daily tasks like managing complex financial portfolios, driving safely through local traffic, or organizing critical medical prescriptions become completely impossible to execute alone. This structural breakdown inevitably forces older adults out of their comfortable suburban homes and directly into specialized senior nursing homes. You become completely dependent on clinical staff for basic daily survival. Furthermore, entering an assisted living facility or a nursing home carries an absolutely devastating financial burden, quickly evaporating your life savings and transforming you into a massive financial strain for your children. The fear of becoming an emotional and financial burden to your loved ones is the heaviest anxiety keeping older Americans awake at 3 a.m. Yet, the tragic irony is that the very habit you use to cope with that anxiety, turning on the bedroom television, is actively accelerating your journey toward a nursing home. To break this cycle, you must implement the behavioral shifts we established, forcing your body to get out of bed after 20 minutes and cooling your nervous system through rhythmic breathing exercises. By aggressively protecting your nightly sleep architecture today, you are not just curing a brief bout of insomnia, you are actively defending your capacity for self-reliance, you are safeguarding your personal freedom. You are securing your absolute right to grow old with dignity under your own roof, entirely free from institutional dependence. But understanding the high stakes of this long-term cognitive battle is merely the framework for your transformation. You cannot completely heal your relationship with sleep without a structured, comprehensive daily roadmap, which brings us directly to our final summary of the routine and a powerful declaration of your personal empowerment. Navigating a severe crisis of sleep fragmentation in your later years represents a formidable biological challenge, but you must realize with absolute clinical certainty that this struggle is entirely not hopeless. Reclaiming your nightly rest is fundamentally hard, demanding immense behavioral discipline and a complete overhaul of your deepest bedtime habits. However, by establishing total mastery over this structured four-step behavioral routine, you wield the precise tools necessary to entirely reshape your cognitive destiny. Let us systematically review the exact scientific blueprint we have constructed today to permanently secure your physiological recovery. First, you must execute the strict 20-minute boundary rule, physically removing your body from your mattress the very moment chronic insomnia strikes. Second, you must establish an uncompromising environmental buffer zone by walking directly out of your dark bedroom and transitioning into a quiet living room recovery space. Third, you must completely avoid any exposure to disruptive digital devices, comfortably settling yourself into a reclining chair illuminated exclusively by a dim, warm amber lamp. Fourth, you must aggressively pacify your hyper-aroused central nervous system by engaging in deep, rhythmic, diaphragmatic breathing exercises to smoothly downshift your elevated heart rate and cortisol levels back to baseline. This elegant clinical strategy works beautifully because it respects your body's natural engineering, systematically forcing your mind to disengage from toxic midnight anxieties. Confronting this hidden biological trap requires a profound philosophical shift in how you view your personal aging process. As Americans, our foundational identity is built upon an enduring spirit of fierce self-reliance and the absolute determination to remain completely self-reliant masters of our own destiny. True self-reliance means taking absolute command of your daily health habits today to aggressively insulate your brain from premature structural breakdown tomorrow. You possess the internal strength and the absolute sovereign power to deliberately alter your immediate behavior, intentionally choosing to protect your fragile neural pathways from the cumulative ravages of chronic inflammation. Do not allow yourself to remain a passive victim of broken sleep architecture or become entirely dependent on a television screen to anchor your consciousness. By choosing to rise from your bed, step away from artificial illumination, and consciously cool your hyperactive nervous system, you are actively performing a monumental act of personal empowerment. You are declaring that your mental sharpness, your hard-earned freedom, and your absolute capability to live independently within your own home are completely worth defending. Building a vibrant, highly informed community dedicated to achieving healthy longevity requires a shared commitment to pure scientific truth and deep mutual respect. If you believe that this channel delivers genuine value to your daily life, please take a moment to click the subscribe button right now. Your active support helps ensure that this vital educational platform continues to grow, providing thousands of older adults across the country with the authentic guidance they desperately need. Please hit that subscribe button immediately because this unique community truly deserves to receive accurate clinical facts delivered with genuine clinical respect. Our collective journey toward achieving superior sleep hygiene and long-term cognitive health begins with a single deliberate choice that you must execute tonight. I want to challenge you to take immediate ownership of your bedtime environment and make a personal commitment to your future. Which specific behavioral modification from our comprehensive four-step routine are you going to implement first when you prepare for rest this evening? Are you going to enforce the strict 20-minute mattress limit, or will you create a dedicated living room buffer zone with a dim, warm light? Leave a detailed comment below sharing your personal plan, your unique experiences, or any specific challenges you currently face with your nightly rest. I promise with absolute sincerity that I will personally read every single comment posted here, and your individual insights will directly help shape the critical health content I develop next.